Hey everybody, uh, this is the French Pumpkinhead. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I am wearing a pumpkin hat because it's close to what holiday? Halloween. And some of you, despite the COVID, will be going trick or treating. Hey, you're wearing a mask, you're outside. Hopefully, you're keeping your safe distance. And this time of year, I always like to give a little speech about being safe because you're going to be outside, you're going to be at night, your vision is going to be compromised by a mask lightly. And the most popular color for Halloween outfits is black. Black does not show up very well at night. And I just want to give a heads up, something that your parents are already telling you. Be careful out there, right? But I give this speech around this time of year because of Halloween. And it reminds me of that. But it also reminds me that I discovered something about 10, 12 years ago. Reading the paper, I read it daily, and Sonoma County, someone got hit by a car, and it seemed like a lot of people were getting hit by cars that time during that year. And one of the things I realized was that it seemed like every time someone got hit by a car when they were walking, is the place where they were. Okay, and it was just kind of shocking to me that that place was in a crosswalk. Okay, it's not a particular crosswalk, but just in general. So I started thinking about it and trying to figure out why that is. Why is it, do you think, that it seems like every time someone gets hit by a car, when they're walking or riding a bike or a skateboard, they are actually in a crosswalk? And someone said, well, maybe it's because that's where most people cross the street. That's true, right? But the more I thought about it, I think there's another reason that is actually um, more accurate, right? I mean, it is true that most of the time when people cross the street, they cross at a crosswalk. But I think a bigger problem, okay, is that people, when they cross the crosswalk, they get in between those lines of the crosswalk and they know the law. The law says that a car is not supposed to go into that crosswalk. It's not supposed to go through that crosswalk if a pedestrian, someone walking, is in the crosswalk. I actually got a ticket 30 years ago. Man, it's a long time. I'm going to get old. I was driving pretty close to the Santa Rosa Junior College on Mendocino, and there was someone walking in a crosswalk. And I was in the far right lane. You know, there's four lanes there, two lanes going each direction. And the person walking in the crosswalk was pretty much in the far left lane, walking away from me, getting ready to walk up on the curb. I went through the crosswalk when they were still in the crosswalk, and a young policeman was behind me and pulled me over and gave me a ticket because technically I broke the law. Okay, I don't like to say technically. I broke the law. I got a ticket. I deserved it, right? Now, I think that law was designed to keep people safe in the crosswalk. I don't think that person was in danger. People never let go of the stuff like that, right? But back to reality now, I think when people are in a crosswalk, they know the law. They know people like me can get tickets, even if they're safe, they're in that crosswalk. And I think what happens is they let their guard down. Okay, what does that mean? I mean, if you were not crossing in a crosswalk, you were jaywalking, right? That's when you cross when you're not supposed to, right? People do that all the time too. But usually when they do that, they're like looking both ways, and then they're running, right? They hurry across the street after they've looked both ways. And when you see people at crosswalk crossing, you know, sometimes they're on their phone, they're just walking, they're not paying attention at all. And I want to tell you guys and remind you and have you put in your brains, your pumpkin heads, right? Um, the fact that there's nothing magical about those lines. Yes, it's the law. And yes, you have the right of way. But if you're walking and a car is going through the crosswalk, you lose. Okay? You can say I had the right of way. I was allowed to be here. That car was not supposed to be there. But you might be saying it from the hospital. Okay. So I want you to know that it's not as important to be right as it is to be safe. Okay. And I want you to think about it and promise me the rest of your lives when you step off that curb, even if it's a crosswalk, even if you have that walk sign, and it's saying you can walk now, right? There's not the big red hand. It says walk. Even if it says that, even if you see that there's a red light for that car coming, if there's a car coming, you're not stepping out in front of it till you're sure that car is stopping. Okay? You take it on yourself to be safe for yourself. Okay? You take it on yourself to not be right and end up in the hospital or worse. Right? Keep yourself safe. Mr. Shebest used to teach here. Okay, he taught here for like 10 or 15 years. Good friend of mine. The first 2 years he taught here, he lived in Santa Rosa, and he didn't have a car. He rode his bike 7 miles each way every day, except for those days when he left his bike at home and ran here, taught all day, then ran home. He was a triathlete. He's a ultra runner now. He runs like 100-mile races up at Tahoe and stuff and wins them. Awesome athlete. But I remember asking him, hey, how do you keep yourself safe? Because I ride my bike out on the street sometimes in all those cars, and I get a little nervous, right? And he says what he does, and this is the best advice I ever heard someone say about keeping safe while you're out on the road with all those cars. He pretends that he's invisible. What does that mean? He pretends that nobody can see him at all. So no one's going to swerve around him. No one's going to stop or slow down because they can't see him. In his mind, he just tells himself, I'm invisible. Nobody can see me. And then what does that do? It puts all the burden on him to keep himself safe. I want you to sort of get that attitude a little bit in your head so you don't let your guard down. Okay. Yes, you have the right of way when you're in that crosswalk. Yes, those cars are supposed to stop, but you take charge of your own safety. Okay. Don't let your guard down. Okay. Look both ways anyway. And remember, when you see someone getting hit in the by a car in the paper, almost all the time, I can guarantee it, almost all the time, there's going to be someone who was in a crosswalk. And almost every year on November 1st, I read about someone getting hit by a car. Okay, so night before that, Halloween, be careful out there. Okay, deal? Pinky promise. All right. Au revoir. Oh.